Wow, and just like that, another Championship manager bites the dust.
As the Uruguayan curls one in. Oh, Middlesbrough take the lead!
What is up guys, Matthew here, welcome to another video, and my god, if you're a Championship manager, you better watch out because suddenly they're getting sacked left, right and centre. We had Gareth Ainsworth yesterday and Nigel Pearson has been sacked from Bristol City today, and this I think is a managerial sacking that maybe has gone under the radar a little bit because Bristol City have just been going through, and I'm sure their fans will agree, this period of just mediocrity for the last few seasons. They're as mid-table as it gets, they're as inconsistent as it gets, they're never quite in danger of the drop, but they're never quite good enough for the playoffs. So they are literally as mid-table as it gets, and I think because they've just sort of quietly gone through this period, what was happening this season was not out of the ordinary for Bristol City, but as it happens, if they are wanting to take that next step, they are wanting to get out of this rut and going a new direction, a fresh direction, a bit like what's happened at Millwall with Gary Rowett. I feel like this is exactly the same. They need to decide that now is the right time to make a change and take the club in a new direction, and that's seemingly what they've done. This was the statement that was put out on Bristol City's website, so it obviously goes through the fact that he's left Bristol City with immediate effect. The chairman, as he does, he says it's a difficult decision. We recognise and appreciate how Nigel's done over his last 2.5 years. What they also mention is that they all wanted him to achieve the ambition to be promoted, but with their recent results, they feel like that now is the time to make a change and give the club the best possible chance of success. Now, looking over the stats, of course, as it mentioned there, Nigel Pearson been at the club for 2.5 years. He joined in late February of 2021, and he's gone the longest serving manager in the Championship. The only manager who's been at their club currently over 2 years is Mark Robins, which is quite incredible. But yeah, at Bristol City, Nigel Pearson managed 131 games, winning 42, drawing 32 and losing 57 with a win percentage of 32%, which I think sums up his time at Bristol City. For every game he'd win, he'd lose, and for every game he'd lose, he'd probably stick a draw in there as well. And yeah, I think if you look at the table, Bristol City are where you'd expect them to be. Losing to Ipswich last week is probably not a surprise, and their previous defeat was, of course, to Leeds as well. And you could argue they were unlucky against Ipswich, but yeah, the 2-0 defeat to Cardiff over the weekend must have been the straw that broke the camel's back. But I'm sure I've heard reports, and I'm sure there's been quite a few comments over the last few weeks, and Bristol City fans might have to help me out with the accuracy of what the claims I'm making here, but I'm sure I've seen that he's not been happy in recent weeks, Nigel Pearson. He's come out with a few weird quotes in press conferences. I don't think he was happy that he's not been offered a new contract. There was possibly a lack of trust between him and the ownership. He maybe felt that they're not intending to sign him on, maybe they're going to move him on any time now, and he just maybe didn't feel like his future was as secure as it could be, or as he'd like it to be. And of course the owners, I dare say, have probably been looking at his contract and the fact his contract ending was coming up, and that they were never going to renew it, and they were always going to look to make a change at some point around this time. So I feel like there was maybe a lack of trust there, and it's come to blow a little bit with recent results, and they've basically decided that now is the right time to let things end and go in their different directions. So where this leaves Bristol City, as I say, 15th in the Championship. They're still 9 points above the drop, mainly because the bottom three are sort of cut adrift, and they're only 5 points away from the playoffs, so it's not the worst in the world, but I think Bristol City fans would agree, and this is where I think it's pretty much very, very similar to what's happened at Millwall with Gary Rowett. They've had the same manager for so long, and they've suffered the same run of results for so long, and you can only give that so much time before you feel like naturally something needs to change. There needs to be an evolution, there needs to be a different change in direction, and I think that's come to the point. You gave Nigel Pearson enough time to see if he can take Bristol City to that next level, take that next big step, and it's just not happened. You look at his time there, of course, as I say, coming at the end of the season in 2021, they finished 19th that season. They have gradually progressed up to 17th and 14th, but still, they're just nowhere near where I'm sure they want to be, and I imagine it's all good being safe from the drop, but I think Bristol City fans will want to be challenging. They won't just settle for mid-table. They want to see their side at least have a chance or compete, and it was never going to happen with Nigel Pearson. He's exactly like Rowett. He will do a good job. He will keep a team up. He's as solid as they get, but he's not quite great. He's good but not great, and if Bristol City do want to take this next step, they've made the right decision, in my opinion, and I think it is just a case of sometimes things just go stale, sometimes things just come to a natural end, and all of a sudden they need to change things. So I think Bristol City fans will be quite excited by this. I think, again, I keep making comparisons to Gary Rowett, but it is so similar to what happened at Millwall. They've not been left in a position where they are rooted to the bottom, or they're in the bottom three, or they've lost the last 6, or whatever, like QPR. They're in a position where there is certainly a platform for the new manager to come in and build on. So I think the timing of it is pretty good as well, or as good as it can be at this stage of the season, and I'll be intrigued to see who is next in charge of Bristol City. Of course, there are now 3 managerial jobs going in the Championship with Millwall, although it does look like Muscat is going to be coming in at Millwall, and it does seem likely that Warnock could be the answer at QPR. So I don't know who Bristol City are going to get in. I'd like to hear their suggestions from their fans in the comments section below, who they would like to get in as his replacement, who could be maybe the fresh new manager with all these new ideas to take them in to this new direction, this new era, and see if they can get challenging for the playoffs, because the league's tight enough. It won't take much of an upturn to be right in the playoff mix this season as things stand. So I look forward to seeing what the Bristol City fans think of this news, if they think it's the right decision, if they think it's the wrong decision, is it the right time? Do let me know what you think in the comments section below, and most importantly, who you would pick to replace him as your next manager. But that's it for now. If you want to see my thoughts on other things to do with the Championship, I of course do review Boro games frequently. Being the Boro fan I am, in a regular Project Boro series, I also do plenty of Championship content, including a video I've done recently where I discussed the sacking of Gareth Ainsworth at QPR. So there's plenty of other stuff kicking about on the channel if you want to check that out. But until next time, hit a like on this video, subscribe for more, leave me a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.